Hello folks, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody's doing amazingly well today. And for those of you who are brand new to this channel, welcome. And for those of you who are returning or are subscribers, welcome also. It's really a pleasure to be here. I know I didn't post as many videos as I normally do last week, but it's for a great reason. I'm actually finishing up my current fictional novel right now, so that takes up so much of your time, especially when you're getting to the point of finishing. It's very exciting, but it does take up time. So I'm sincerely and wonderfully glad about being here with you guys today, that I can find the time to read for you today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do this. So today what I thought we would do is, this was actually a suggestion, so from one of you out there. So whoever, I can't remember the name, so forgive me, but whoever wanted this as a suggestion, then I thought it was a great idea. So I thought we would do career today. So of course we're not going to lump you into a specific career or anything like that. But I think that what we can do is certainly we can give you guidance about what career would be great for you, what career path would be great for you. As we all know, what we end up doing sometimes in our lives versus what we're here to do sometimes differs, because, you know, the practical mind gets involved and, you know, you've got to pay that rent and you've got to pay those bills. But you know, when it comes to a career versus a job, or whatever it is that makes our hearts sing, what it is that we're supposed to do, sometimes we need a little bit of guidance. So let's go ahead and get that for you today. And as always, we're always looking for sort of practical insights, things that we can, you know, advice that we can give you from spirit that you can integrate into your life and make your life better. It's not just about reading and information and confirmation. Of course, that's a lot of it, and we're happy to do that. But some extra support, some actual tangible information that we can give you and hopefully get you where you need to be. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So what we're going to do, always looking for ways to make these readings more tangible and more specific to you, because of course these are general readings. So I will say, if, you know, this reading isn't resonating, feel free to pick another pile. If this doesn't resonate, this reading, one of them will. You know, these messages are general. They're meant for somebody. So hopefully that somebody is you today. But for the charms, that's why we use them. So, you know, when I read the charms specifically, I read them intuitively. But if there's something that you see in there that's specific to you, that's your intuition, that's spirit speaking to you, like absolutely to you and to your situation. So always take that to heart. That's why we use these charms. So we have 3 piles as always. The first pile, we have a little unicorn here, you can see. The second pile, we have the koala, and the third pile, we have this little pup here. And we also have our beautiful handmade candle, which is infused with abundance oil and bringing all that beauty and self-love to you, and abundance, of course. So we've got that energy already in there, infused with our reading to be. So as always, we'll take a breath and we'll just ground into our energy, and we will ask spirit to come in and help us and really support us today. We're going to be working with our spirit guides, and particularly I feel the angels coming in today, Archangel Michael. So we'll definitely be getting some messages from him. And all of the information that you need will be down below in the timestamps. So when you decide, I'm sorry, that is, if you hear anything in the background, that's my cats. I kind of locked them out. Well, I didn't kind of. Yep, I totally locked them out. And they're going a little bit crazy on the other side of the door. So apologies there. Good news is cat energy around readings is even better, so it's going to be more powerful. So as I was saying, the timestamps will be down below, so you can go ahead and grab the pile that resonates with you and get your messages from spirit about your career. Okay, so let's go ahead, and we're going to move these out of the way for now. And Okay, pile one, if this is you and you chose this beautiful little unicorn, this sort of magical ethereal emblem, then let's see what this is a timeless reading whenever you come across it or come upon it as your time. So what is your specific career path? What should you be doing in this lifetime? So let's see what we have here. Magic, of course, you have the unicorn. My goodness, that's brilliant. There is magic around you, so expect excitement and joy. And again, the Pegasus, my goodness. All right, pile one. Open your heart to love and joy. Okay, so we have the Nine of Pentacles reversed here, but we also have the Three of Pentacles upright here, and we have green Tower, supreme protection. You are protected. Cords are being cut, sorry. Move beyond limitation and trust. And then we have the ego, the illusion of being trapped, placing too much importance on material items, getting caught up in fear and worry. Ego, number 15. So the first thing that I'm getting here, pile one, is definitely some sort of leader and teacher. I do feel as though the cards are being really honest here in more of an ethereal sense, more of a spiritual sense for those of you who are starseeds and earth angels. What you are here to do is definitely sort of lead the path and lead the path for others to walk a spiritual path. So even if there's a practical element to what it is that you do, I feel as though there'll be a spiritual kind of parallel road that you bring in. But I feel for most of you, there's sort of a creative element. The first thing that I'm being shown is for music too. There's a lot of infusing of what you do. So I feel as though there's a lot of different esoteric paths that you can bring in, sort of sound therapy, music. I feel as though what it is that you do is going to shift and change, like going with the flow, like water. But like for the specifics, I feel as though you are working with bringing back magic, sort of teaching people how to work outside of the realm of the sort of mundane world, the 9 to 5. I feel as though for many of you, you wouldn't be happy behind a desk 9 to 5, although I feel as though for small periods of time, you might be able to do that, especially if you are helping others. So if you work like in a clinic or something like that, where you're helping people and your energy is helping people, I feel as though that's something that you could do for a while, but I feel as though that's not your path and you probably wouldn't stay there that long. I feel as though, I feel as though what it is that you do is bringing people together and bringing sort of, this is not new knowledge by any stretch of the imagination. It's sort of the old knowledge, bringing it back, but in a new way. Let's get some... I feel as though for some of you, it's very heartfelt work. I feel for some of you, there is a recovery process. So, working with people, recovering from the past of what you've been through, the very specifics of what you've been through and how you've gotten through it in your lifetime and on your path. I feel as though that information definitely can be condensed and integrated and sprinkled throughout your work. So demonstrating how others can do this. So you're definitely a leader. You're definitely sort of a mover and a shaker. And I feel as though sort of the aesthetics of what you do, the beauty of what you do is you're bringing people into teaching them how to be whole, sort of like how to be themselves, how to shed what they no longer need, how to shed their past. So it is esoteric. Coming round full circle, you're definitely bringing in ancient knowledge. Again, this is sort of knowledge that you're bringing in very, very practically, though, working beyond the ego, showing people how to be comfortable in their own skin, showing people how to shine their own light without fear of retribution or without fear of criticism. Yeah, having people be unique. I think for some of you, these are general readings, and some of this is quite specific. But for some of you, there is this working with the inner child. For some of you, you may actually be working with children and the childlike sense of children and supporting children, at a very specific age, which is childlike, and giving them the support and the need to be themselves. A certain amount of structure, certainly the structure to protect themselves and protect each other. But, it really is like you being there to protect them from growing up too fast, in a way, if that makes sense. So for those of you who absolutely love children, that is something that you could be working with. I can see you have a very unique understanding of working with children and animals and magic. The way in which you speak to children, they respond to you. You have this unique way of speaking to them insofar as you speak to them like a grown-up, so they respect you. You don't mollycoddle them, as we say at home, but at the same time, I feel as though you see their beauty, and there's a huge amount of appreciation, which they also respond to. But you can also be, let's do this now, and they listen too. The way in which you work within this world is that you command respect, whether you realize that or not. And if you don't realize that you command respect, it's just that you don't put down your foot that often. But when you do notice that people do fall into place. So this is very, very much leadership, very much teacher status. And for those of you who do not feel as though you have enough wisdom in order to sort of set up that course or do what you need to do, you definitely do. What it is that you're doing is that maybe you can bring back what it is that you want to do and make it sort of tangible. I feel as though, Pile 1, one thing that you do, and it's in your beautiful personality, is that you tend to take on so much and then get overwhelmed by it and then maybe leave it behind, or and then because you remember being so overwhelmed by it, you tend to not want to go back to that situation again. I'm getting very clearly, think small. There's nothing wrong with thinking small. Sometimes you think huge, and that's great. You have this undeniable, beautiful imagination, but what it does, it pulls in too many things and then you get overwhelmed. The truth of the matter is that you can do a lot of different things and pull them all together. But really what Spirit is saying is that you focus on one thing. And, for those of you who are really genuinely confused and don't know what to do, you can just start on one thing, like start up a course or maybe even a YouTube channel. Take one thing that that you can do well enough. And for those of you who are like, oh, I don't have enough wisdom to do this, don't wait until you feel as though you've perfected something before you go out there. You carry a lot of magic. And you carry a lot of joy and love, and your heart sometimes gets closed down because you get overwhelmed and you get confused and you don't know what to do next. And then that sort of like energy infuses in the rest of your life. And then you're like, oh, what am I doing? And then you pull yourself down, you get down on yourself. And this is a cycle that you're doing, Pile 1. But really, what you're here to do is to be a beacon of light and to help others. So even if you're doing that in a small way that you feel as though is not large necessarily, that's fine. That's a start, and that will pull you into the next thing that you need to do. So your thing is baby steps. Showing people who they are without compromise, showing people the light inside of themselves, how to carry magic, this sort of intuition, working with the inner child or working with children. But it's very much bringing this information back into the celebration of oneself, of being a whole being without compromise, showing people to move beyond the ego in a spiritual sense and to show their light again without repercussions of people coming back and saying, X, Y, and Z, like holding their space and being who they are without apology. That's exactly what you're here to do. This is what you're here to do for yourself too. Now, if you don't feel as though you've accomplished that 100% in your life right now, that's fine, pile one, because honestly, the universe is saying if you step up in baby steps, you do that. That infuses into your life. You get stronger. And then that's how you can bring people together. So it's really about showing your magic and what it is that you do. And for some reason, I'm seeing runes, definitely tarot cards. You could offer readings, but I think that something specific to offering a course that you can do, getting back to oneself. And also you have a lot of protection here. And the other thing that you're here to do is to bring that, not just infuse the magic, but to be more specific, is to teach people how to be expansive. And this is what you're working with yourself. No limitations, really moving beyond what is perceived in the limited world, again, in the mundane world, in what we call quote unquote society. So it's definitely ethereal. It's magical. What you're doing is spiritual and bringing that essence into somebody. But I feel as though the way in which you are approaching it is very much, I would say, practical and grounded. You're giving people a very a support system where they can see X, Y, and Z. If I take this baby step, it'll lead on to this, it'll lead on to that. So again, it's okay to think small. It's okay, you know, the idea of expansion, of course, is massive, right? But, you know, to put that into our daily lives, we have to bring it down into sort of practical steps. So again, baby steps, bringing in your magic, teaching a course at the local college, doing something small, something online. For some of you, I just got this like chessboard moving. So it's like a strategy of how to move forward with the knowledge that you already have. And again, whatever knowledge you have, yes, it's absolutely enough. You will grow as you do this too. If you're already in a job that you don't feel as though you can leave right now, all of this can be done on the side, and you can move very quickly from part-time to full-time. So don't feel as though that you have to wait in order to do this. There's nothing here that suggests that you need to wait. You certainly have the information. Again, you can bring sort of inner child work. For those of you who have been working on inner child work yourself, definitely bring in inner child work in what you're doing, and give that as an option for people to work with you, to work with inner child. For those of you who are thinking about moving on to the next level, and working with somebody one-on-one, like a coach, or working with somebody who has more of the specific knowledge that you need, yes, absolutely. And what I'm hearing now is absolutely seek that person out, absolutely work with them one-on-one, and don't feel as though that you have to wait in order whatever messages or whatever healing and insights that you gather from working with this one person, you can infuse into what you do pretty much immediately. So it's not a case of putting what you want to do on hold to work with somebody else. It's really a matter of, there's so many layers and so many ways that you can work, Pile One, but the message is that you can work right now with what you do. I would say offer a course of bringing people together. For some of you, I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but I'm seeing runes too. So bringing, I don't know how that would work, but bringing runes in for those of you, maybe it is esoteric information, what it is that you know. And of course you can start like, 101, a brand new course. People like to start from the beginning. And for somebody who, like me, who actually has been working with like tarot for maybe like 20 years, sometimes it's great to go and get a refresher course and work with somebody, on the really basic level, because there's still an insight there, the way in which they present information that I may not have known. So don't think for a second that, starting from scratch and offering something from scratch, that experts won't come and work with you too, because there's always something to learn. And I personally have gone back to so many different things recently, and I've been working with, the bare basics of certain things that I already have a lot of knowledge in, and I'm still pulling in this really beautiful sort of insights that I'm able to interject and integrate into my own personal work. So The message is start now. Whoever you will attract, you will definitely attract people who are beginning, who have done this before. So many different people. They'll be attracted to your energy and what you have to say. And for those of you who are doubting if you have enough information to do this, again, baby steps. You learn as you go on too. You absolutely have the information. People are attracted to your energy and the aesthetics of what you do. And remind yourself, pile one, you've done this work before. This is not the first time that you've been doing this in other lifetimes too. You're called to do this on your path. Definitely magic. You can always call on sort of unicorn realm magic, Archangel Michael. Also, Archangel Ariel's coming in thick and fast here in and around you to give you the inspiration to move forward with the actual specific step. But I would say I'm definitely getting inner child, children, definitely working sort of, start off with a small course. Or if you're already doing something like this, you can set up a course where somebody can work with you over a matter of 3 or 6 months, expanding what you do, so you end up working as a life coach, like one-on-one, specifically with people, rather than just offering a course. So there's a few things there. You have a lot of information, bringing people back to their beauty and who they are, and the wholeness, again, beyond the ego, which is really, really beautiful. You have a lot of protection here. Move beyond limitation. Do not worry. This is your time to do this. The one thing that I'm getting is the green light here on pile one. I'm getting green light. Do not wait. This is, if you were attracted to this reading, if you were attracted to this pile, I'm definitely getting this is your time to step up and do this. Do not get overwhelmed, and do not allow yourself to get overwhelmed. Expansion is wonderful. It's one of my favorite words, but if you're doing it in a way where you're getting overwhelmed, remember, have an expansive attitude, but you can pull it down into one tangible thing that you can do now. Baby steps, move forward. The next step will come once you do the first step. So I'm very excited for you teachers and spiritual leaders out there, pile one. If this resonated with you in any way, feel free to subscribe. I would love to have you. If not, that's great too. Do give me a like. Let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you guys, and for any future subjects too. I always consider all subjects. If there's something that you want a reading on, do let me know. Yeah, do let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I love hearing from you guys. So pile one, it was an absolute pleasure. Until we meet again, you take care. Bye-bye. Okay, pile two, this is your timeless reading. If you pick the koala, yay. So let's find out what your specific path is, as specific as we can get. They're general readings, but we're trying to get you as much information as we can about your path, career, what you're supposed to do. So let's see what we have here. Okay, birth. Be receptive to new ideas, a child or situation. Interesting. Aim for that which makes your soul rejoice. Soul satisfaction. Okay, fertility. Okay, we've got a theme here. Four of Swords. Okay. Mother Mary, love and peace. Let go of the need to be right. Choose peace. Okay. And then we have the Princess of Spring here. It's time to go after your dreams. Do something that expands your horizons. Let your creativity take flight. Okay. So the first thing that I'm getting, which is very much in line with, I would say, the essence of pile one, is your time is now. If you're attracted to this reading, and specifically this pile, then you are definitely ready to work within. I think for some of you, you've been confused about the specifics of what you want to do, but also I think that you've been working in ways or taking jobs that haven't really infused who you are, and you've been quite unhappy. And for some of you, and again, this is a general reading, you've been quite miserable. So let's give you some insights here. I feel as though for some of you, you've been working in situations that doesn't allow your imagination and doesn't really, or you're working around people who are a little bit negative, and a little bit of your heart's been shut down there. So bringing back that joy and coming back into what you want to do. So fertility is definitely here. Working, literally, we could say birth, working with children, working with birthing, working with midwives, working with babies. That may be part of it for some of you. I feel as though For some of you too, there's, again, this is a general reading, so I'm just going to give you the information that I'm getting. For some of you, I feel as though it's birthing sort of a new way of being in this life, sort of more an esoteric kind of understanding. So maybe working one-on-one with people, but there's definitely a fertility. I think for you, babies, beauty, coming back to who you were as a child, the sort of beauty before the world or society imprinted upon you, that absolute perfection and that gorgeousness. For you, it might be a literal thing. For some of you, I'm feeling like even like the medical side of working with fertility, helping people, well, obviously it would be women, but their partners too, wanting to get pregnant in that way. And I feel as though for some of you, there's been, and again, this is a general reading and I'm getting a lot of different things, but for some of you, you've also had a few ups and downs with fertility too. So I think sort of for you, it could be setting up a group or giving wisdom and just a lot of support for people going through, or couples or an individual, obviously it would be a woman, going through the fertility process. There's lots of different things here, giving them hope in a metaphysical way for those of you who are actually healers and who have trained doing this. The specifics of what you can do is working with people who have had problems getting pregnant before or fertility problems. There is, there's a physical aspect to it, of course, but sometimes there's a mental block. There's other aspects of reasons why someone cannot get pregnant. And you can actually shift energy and help them do that. There are many different reasons, and again, we want to be really clear here. We don't want to step on the toe of the medical industry here. But as healers, maybe specifically for you, and this does seem to be, specific to fertility, if you are a healer and you're looking for a way to bring in a specific and what you want to do in this lifetime, supporting women who are going through this, it can be really, really rough and it can be heart-rendering. You can actually help them heal physically and mentally. There's definitely ways of fielding out what's going on and moving away past energy. Sometimes, and I've had this in some of my readings, it's past life energy blocking the need to get pregnant in this lifetime. There's specific things that can be done, and once you clear that lifetime, they're able to get pregnant quite easily. There's lots of different things that can be done, and again, we don't want to take away from the medical side of any of this. It won't replace it, but you can certainly work with people. Couples getting pregnant, women wanting to get pregnant. There's definitely a fertility thing here. So let's see what we've got here. Yes, working with the gift of life. Absolutely. There's something huge here with the gift of life. Trust in source. It knows the way. So I feel as though with you too, Pal too, it definitely is about helping people get back to themselves and trusting themselves again. Trusting source again. So again, if we put this in the guise of, or in the understanding of fertility, people who have lost hope, women who have lost hope in this idea, or not in this idea, in this understanding of getting pregnant, giving them support, getting them back on track in many different ways, giving them hope, having that space for them, moving forward, this idea of infinity, this idea of definitely of birth of the new generation. There's many different ways to see this. It's definitely you're using your specific knowledge for support in sort of the birthing process, the beauty of the birth, the baby, the pure entity. You're bringing your specific wisdom. We have the owl here. This will bring you joy. This will bring you back into who you are and what you're supposed to do. Now, whether you've had fertility problems yourself, or whether you've been around people who have, or maybe you haven't at all, it really doesn't matter. You do have specific wisdom to be able to sort of hold and support these women while they're going through this. Or the other way is that the idea of the birthing process, coming back to a sense of purity, of pride in that purity before the innocence, again, the inner child, protecting the inner child before society got in there and started sort of dulling down people. So it could be the very specifics. You do have a lot of energy and a lot of beauty and a lot of knowledge in the idea of the infinity and the gift of being pure, the inner child, the purity of the inner child. So whether you're working in the specifics of fertility, in the specifics of birthing, or supporting people through the fertility process, or you're supporting people through the understanding of getting back to the pure essence of who they are, working specifically with the inner child, working with Mother Mary, the ultimate mother here of love and peace and sort of the balance. I keep seeing some of you may even be Libras, but or have a lot of Libra in your chart. But the idea of balance, of justice, of bringing yourself back to who you were before others told you you were somebody else. So there's two different ways here, and this is going to bring you a lot of satisfaction. Now, there's so many different ways that you can go. If you do go into the medical industry, and it's very specific working with children here as a midwife, you're going to bring in a lot of the spiritual knowledge and the rejoicing of the sort of the old ways, as it were, if you decide to go, even if you go into the medical industry, or if you decide to, again, as a healer, open yourself up to the possibility of working with people. Now, I feel as though with your energy and your expertise, you've probably already, to begin with, or you'll start to see in your life this pattern of people coming in and working with you, of maybe women, unfortunately, who have lost children and that grief. So you may have worked with them before and been able to help to solidify that energy of grief and help them release it and be a really big support for women who have gone through that. I mean, my mother went through that. I lost a sister, and it's really that kind of grief. It's really heavy, and it stays with people, and it's heartbreaking. This is something that you will be able to do. Now, you may have been able to see this in your practice where people coming toward you with this kind of energy already. Now, you can take that energy one step further and again, work with people who are trying to work with the next generation and bring in the next generation who are maybe a little unsure of getting pregnant or whether they really want to. But there's something about the birthing process in many different ways here, pile 2. And the gift of life. Now, again, this could be the specifics of the gift of life insofar as, like, the birthing process, but bringing people closer to that in some way is what you'll do. Either in the physical sense, working with people in the fertility or birthing a child, or even working with young children, or just the essence of coming back to wholeness to oneself, working with the inner child of one's person, and coming back to the understanding of really integrating back with source, with the universe, with God. However you see, it's all one, it's all the same. And trusting again and coming back to that pure innocence of self. This is something, peace, that will bring you peace in your heart and will open up your heart and your expansion, especially if you work with your inner child here. And it's time to go after your dreams, just like pile 1, pile 2, this is you, pile 2. The time is now. For those of you who've been trying on different ways to do this, I feel as though for most of you who are attracted to pile 2, you kind of know the next move. You kind of know what you need to do. It's just a matter of absolutely doing it and saying, yeah, this is it. So if you are at that stage in your life, then this is absolutely a confirmation for you, pile 2. So again, be receptive to new ideas, child, or situation. So I feel as though the soul satisfaction, it's time for you to really follow your heart. And if you haven't done that wholly yet, or completely, we should say, it's time to focus on you and how you can help others in this very, very specific way. And again, there are many different ways to do this, but in some ways, I feel as though you are a leader, or you are choosing to use your gift in a specific way. And there is definitely a support or a highlight for supporting of the birth system in many ways. And again, the female aspect of this, if you're working with fertility, it's very often couples. So, but you'll be working specifically with the female element here. So going back to that energy of supporting the female element and supporting the feminine aspect of life, I feel that very strongly for you, pal, too. This is very, very important work, and this is beautiful work, and you're very able to do it. And if there's an essence of what you're doing right now, and you're already in this line of work, and I feel as though some of you are in some ways, it's just a matter of tweaking and figuring out what the next step is to make this sort of industry, or to make this path completely your own. Maybe it's time to work on your own, or move to a place or a center that gives you more responsibility or something like that. But I do feel as though there's definitely a huge step up in responsibility here for you. This is wonderful work. I'm really excited for you, pile 2. If this resonated in any way, feel free to give me that thumbs up, that like, subscribe. If this energy feels like this is the energy that you would like in your life, and if not, that's wonderful too. And do let me know in the comments if this resonated. I always love hearing from you guys. All right, pile 2, until we meet again. Bye-bye. Okay, pile 3, this is your beautiful, beautiful timeless reading. You're a puppy. Puppy. Could be working with animals. We shall see. We're going to put that in front of the koala here. All right, let's see what we've got. Soul purpose. Act on your soul purpose today. So just like there are several different things, different energies in each of the piles. But the one thing I can say definitively across the board, each pile, 1 and 2 and now 3, is saying the time is now. So if you do come across this reading, it is time for you to move. It's time for you to step up and to move into what you want to do. The time is now. There is no delay. There is no waiting. Okay, Queen of Unicorns. You are blessed with love, compassion, and wisdom. That's wonderful. Okay, 8 of Pentacles. All right. And 9 of Cups reversed. Okay, Holy Spirit, expect miracles. Okay, 10 of Winter, the resolution of difficulties, a weight lifted off your shoulder, the end of an addiction of codependency. Okay, so the first thing I'm getting is, obviously the first message we got is you have the time is now. So that's the first. The second one is, I know a lot of you out there, pile 3, I can feel as though you don't have enough wisdom. You feel as though there's a pressure on you to maybe do something and you're just not sure. There's not a lot of clarity there for a lot of you in pile 3. But if you listen, you do have a soul purpose. If you just listen to your heart, you don't listen, you have incredible intuition, but you don't often listen to it. I feel as though Archangel Raphael, and this is something for you too, I'm going to sort of insist that you do this, pile 3. I did recently, if you have not listened to Archangel Raphael, the reading that I did there, and even if you did, go back and choose a different pile. Archangel Raphael does work with people for healing and help. And he has, as I said before, a wonderful sense of humor and puts in very clearly these beautiful insights and beautiful way forwards, these incredible kind of like intuitive ways to move forward and these ideas, and they come out of nowhere and they're absolutely him. And he only gives you the sort of things, the ideas that he knows that you can act on in the moment, but they're inspired, right? So if you're looking for some extra help, my practical senses are telling me, my guides are telling me that you need to go to Archangel Raphael. And for extra practical guide, go back and listen to the Archangel Raphael. Again, if you listened to it before, choose a different pile this time. He is definitely there to help you. So if there's any doubt about moving forward, clear out your space, meditate, pull in Archangel Raphael and see what comes up. There's a little bit of a confidence problem here, pile 3. You don't think you have enough wisdom to move forward, or there's too many ideas going on and you can't think of one. Well, actually, all of your ideas probably correspond to something and you can probably put them all together and move forward. So here we're gonna get you a little bit more information here. All right, so I'm just gonna, All right, so movement forward, definitely movement forward. You have intense spiritual guides that work with you. You have the Holy Spirit. And again, I think for you, pile three, there's been something that's happened that sort of knocked you down one too many times, or, you've been knocked to the side, or maybe you've not had, when you've stepped up. And I will say this, and this happens in spell work too, and it happens in life. We're just going to put this, I haven't forgotten about this guy. Sometimes when you tell people your idea too early, people get involved. And, sometimes you've done that and there's not always been a huge amount of support. And that energy sort of like integrates into what you're doing, and it dumbs it down a little bit. So we're going to say, protect for now, protect what you're doing, work with your guides, work with your intuition, work with Archangel Raphael. And, and when you're on the road, spiritually, not necessarily specifically on the road, but when things are up and running, pull people into what you're doing then. I think that for you, you tend to get excited and you have this great energy and you have tons of different ideas and you're talking to people and, people may, well, you said that already, or you've got a lot of ideas. I don't know how that's going to work. Da, 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 da. And then what happens is you take that to heart because you're sensitive and you've got this beautiful open heart. And you've got this sort of energy that's always going, but you don't always know where you're going. And that's beautiful. All you need to do is ground into that energy and move forward. So all I'm saying is for you, and I'm not, I don't want to be dramatic. I'm not saying, pile three, you got terrible people around you. Oh, woe is me. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that sometimes you need to protect what, the idea of what you've got. So it gets a little time to get the kinetic energy going. And when it's on the roll, that's when you pull people in. That's when you look for support. Or that's maybe when support just comes to you anyway. So, as a process for people, pile three, who have chosen this pile, for people who have started things and you don't feel as though you can finish them, and you start things and they sort of fall away, that could be a tangible reason why. The other thing that you do is, I feel as though pile three, you take on a lot too much, and then, or you're not listening to your intuition, and then you get down the road and you go, I don't know why I'm doing this. Or the one thing that I want you to do, pile three, is to be really honest about why you're doing something. I feel as though you get involved in something, you're really excited about it, and then you realize that the reason why you're doing it has shifted, and then you wonder why the hell you're doing it. So there's several different reasons why things that you do not take off, and then that's lowered your confidence a little bit because you're wondering, oh my goodness, will I ever get anything done? Am I good at anything? Yes, you're brilliant at everything. That may be your problem right there. So I feel as though, let's get you some practical advice. The first thing that we need you to do, pile three, is to really listen to your intuition. Okay, there's a lot of practical sense that comes in there. Yes, everybody needs to pay their mortgage. Everybody needs to eat. People need money. I get this. I totally understand. But there's a way of utilizing your practicality and still working with your intuition and still getting what you want. You have a lot of esoteric information. You have excellent spirit guides. You also have the movement forward. You've got the green light here, pile three. So this is the time to do this. Listen to your intuition. Be really honest about what it is that you want from this situation. Now, if you want compensation and you want to earn a certain amount of money from it, that's wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. Be honest about that. Sit down and say, this is what I need to earn from it. This is what I want to do. But come back to your heart. If you're looking to go out there and do anything spiritual, which I think that you will do, what I'm seeing here is very much creative stuff. A lot of you are writers, maybe painters. I'm seeing illustrators too. Maybe you've not done this full time or gone into that. You've done this on the side, or maybe that you suspect that you're pretty good at it, but you've not launched the career yet. Again, this is a green light, pile three. If you come to this is saying this is the time to do it. I am definitely being told you don't need any more information or wisdom in order to be able to do what you do. So just go ahead and do it. That's not to say that, you don't have to be absolutely incredibly brilliant at what you do, but you are. Take that first step and move forward anyway. But whatever it is that you do, I feel as though the movement forward is in a creative direction. And I feel as though it is working for yourself. I do see sort of freelancer. Again, this is a general reading. I'm giving you the information that I get. And these general readings are for people. These general readings are for specific people out there. And that's just the information that I'm getting. So for you, it's more freelancing, doing what you do maybe on the side. For some of you, making it full time. And again, expect miracles. If you open up your heart to what you're doing and believe that you can do it, that is absolutely brilliant. For some of you, word of mouth is something that you can do too. What I'm seeing is that for some of you who are artists and creative, stop working for free. You're not at that stage anymore. And again, work with Archangel Raphael, I would say with this, and Archangel Michael. Some of you have been dumbed down so often because I keep seeing that you've got the wind knocked out of you a little bit, unfortunately. So your confidence is a little bit low. So, you work on projects that don't really fit with you, and maybe they're not paying you well, or you put up with situations that you shouldn't because there isn't a complete confidence in your ability. But again, we've already dealt with this. This is because you're opening yourself up to to people in and around you. You're expressing yourself when you should be protecting the idea at the beginning. Now, when I say protecting, you don't have to hold on to it for dear life. You're just putting a little energy around it. You're working with your guides until it takes off. It's like an incubator. You're incubating. Is that the right incubating? Yes. You've got a little incubator there with your energy and what it is that you want to do and your idea. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. So let's leave the protection part and use it as an incubator. So within that incubator, you work one-on-one with your intuition. Be really honest about what it is that you want to do, how you're going to do it, why you're doing it. Open your heart and make sure the joy is there behind what you're doing. Speak to your angels here, your specific angels, and let them choose the next step. Again, freelancing, working on your own, working with people who appreciate what you do. You are definitely at the stage, whether you believe it or not, that you can say why and you can say when. Stop dumbing yourself down and going for situations because you feel as though, quote unquote, you need the experience. You don't need the experience anymore. You are beyond that. And for those of you, I feel as though there is a creative element. I definitely feel like comic books, graphic novels, sort of illustrators, you have a really unique sense of creativity. Whatever it is that you do, it's definitely creative. For some of you, you are writers. You have enough information to get down there and start writing. I've been actually thinking about recently setting up sort of a writers group or setting up a course of people who are starting to get back into writing their book but not sure how to do it, whether it's a nonfiction book of having to help other people or telling your life story. So if that resonates with you, Pal 3, and you're interested in that, do let me know in the comments and maybe we can figure out a way to bring that to you. It would be a very simple course and it would be sort of a support. And also, when you're writing a book, it's very disciplined. As I said at the beginning of the intro, I'm writing a book right now and it does have to come first and there's other things that need to happen. But, these are practical things that you can teach people how to do, and having the support and having somebody who works with you or just holds you accountable for what needs to be done, I promise you that's half the work right there, honestly. And then the editing later on and all of that stuff. So I feel as though it's standing in your own ground, doing what it is that you do, bringing your life work to the paper, to the page, to the canvas, to the people. I feel as though, especially the Queen of the Unicorns here, soul purpose. It's bringing out your heart's desire and showing what you've been through and helping others through it too. Also, there's a little bit of negativity. You've lost, like I said, you've been knocked off your bicycle. The wind's been knocked out of you a little bit. Expect miracles. Expect that you can do this. Expect that you'll get a publisher. Expect that people will buy your book. Expect that people will respond favorite. Not only will love what you do, but really integrate that into their soul, that you will actually make a difference in somebody's life. I feel as though the confidence is building. There's this kinetic energy about realizing the cycle of isolating yourself too. There's two different things, again, with the general reading, opening yourself up a little bit early on and letting people know what you're doing, and then, you couldn't do, oh my goodness, I can't imagine that anybody would buy that book or this, that, and the other. Maybe not that horrible, but they say things that just, you're really excited to say something and then you go back into your shell. But I feel as though you've realized that cycle. And it's not that these people around you that are bad. It's just that you have in the past surrounded yourself with people who are not in line with their soul purpose and therefore cannot really imagine. They don't really have this expansiveness that you do. You have this incredible expansive imagination. You want the world, you want this, and there's no reason why you can't get it. But you in the past, you've surrounded yourself with people who maybe have wanted that, but didn't believe that they could get it. So they projected that upon you. And that's sort of dampened a little bit of what you've done here and what you're supposed to do. But I want to let you know, I promise you, pile 3, this is your journey. This is your soul purpose. And I feel as though you're coming out of that cycle where you're no longer really either attracting those people, or you know when to let people know about things, or when you stand in your own confidence instead of saying, I'm thinking about writing this book. I've started writing this book. I've got chapter 1 already. So you're coming out of this, oh, woe is me, I don't know really what I'm doing, to having the confidence of doing it. And I can tell you, all you need to do, pile 3, is saying, I'm doing this, and get down and do it. As a writer, if you're coming from a creative aspect, if you think that your work is absolutely brilliant 100% all the time, good luck. No writer, nobody thinks that. You put things down on the paper. You do as, if it challenges you, if you're frightened of it, if it's out of your comfort zone, if you think people are going to think you're crazy because you put this down on the paper, that's brilliant work right there. That's what you want to go for. And you have this already. So expect miracles. Expect that you can get exactly what you want. Expect that everything that you do creative wise will be brilliant. You're very good at what you do. You've also done this work in past lives. This is not your first rodeo, pile 3. Remember, you got the green light. Go out there and write that book. And remember, if you're interested, especially with the writing element, because I feel like a lot of people with the artistic kind of creative stuff, it is writing. Now, it could be something really specific, like a syllabus of healing. Chapter 1 is this, chapter 2 is this. You might even have everything together. You just need to get the ball rolling. But if you are interested in that support, in that course, do let me know in the comments below, because that's something I've been thinking about moving forward. I haven't had the time as yet, but I do want to set up a support for writers because I think it's really important. That's definitely something I've been working on. So if you're interested, do let me know in the comments below and I'll see what I can do about that. But honestly, pile 3, your green light is absolutely, and for those of you who don't have the confidence, who are thinking that, you don't have enough esoteric knowledge, or if you do, if you started this process before, you can't keep it going, you will. You have enough. It's just the support. And that's another thing, the support. Seek out other artists and supports. It's one thing that you've done in the past, pile 3, and this happens with artists a lot, is that we tend to isolate ourselves somewhat, a little bit, So come out of that isolation. Again, you can still have that sort of phase where you're not protecting. Remember, we're bringing everything together and letting everything congregate. So you're working with your intuition, but you can still have that support. You don't have to be completely isolated while you're doing this. And maybe that's another reason why this hasn't taken off before, these projects, because you've gone into this isolation mode and then you've gone right into your head and over and over and over. And then you're like drowning with your own thoughts. But there's a way of doing this in creativity where, yes, a certain aspect of the creative process is being on your own, certainly, but you don't have to be isolated. You can get support, and you can get support for your ideas, and at the very best, some really good insights and sort of beautiful ideas that you can integrate, a support system where you can sound ideas off people and get inspired. And knowing that you're not on your own. So this is your green light to move forward on, get that confidence rolling again on your creative project that really will shine and change the world. It's going to be brilliant. Yes, it will be hard work, but that's where your heart is and your joy is, and you will shift and heal exponentially from doing this work too. So don't think for a second, that your sensitive and beautiful heart that chose the puppy, your sensitive, wonderful heart will not be enough to show the world what needs to be done. You have more than enough knowledge here to be able to do this and help others on their journey too. Your green light, pile 3. That is wonderful, wonderful. So if this did resonate with you, feel free to subscribe. I would love to have you if you guys feel as though this is the energy and practical life force that you need in your life. If not, that's perfectly fine too. But do feel free to give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you need again from that course, or if it resonated. I love hearing from you guys. And again, if there's any kind of if you're thinking that you want a reading on this, that, and the other, I do listen to all the suggestions. This was a particular suggestion today. So if you have any suggestions for future readings, pop them in the comments below too. I'd love to hear from you. All right, my loves, take care. And until we meet again, bye-bye.